Well, I don't think this guy needs much of an introduction, and certainly not an epic introduction like he gives his guests on his very popular show. You guys all know who he is already. 13 years with the Eagles, six-time first team All Pro. What's weird to me about that is none of them happened until he was 30. Maybe that was my problem. Maybe if I kept playing after I was 30, maybe then I would have been All Pro. 156 straight starts is just bananas. He's an analyst for ESPN now, an awesome person, and I would say a pretty darn good friend now over the last 3 years. It's been very cool. He's the great Jason Kelce. Jason, thanks for coming on the show, man. Really
Russ,
appreciate it.
hey, thank you for having me. It's an honor. Love listening to this podcast. Love listening to everything you do. Always good talking to a fellow former offensive lineman. And yeah, happy to be on.
So, dude, I can't believe that you agreed to make this the exclusive place where you're going to go over every detail from the wedding. I am honored, man.
Everybody else is giving them out, right? Yeah, it was that was a fun night, brother. It was a great time. So
You know what is funny? Somebody, I think my sister-in-law, like a couple days afterwards, said, is it true that Travis and Taylor sang? And I said, yeah. And she said, is he good? I said, yeah, actually, he is good. Like, and I remember you and I were talking about that night, and I think she said, are those guys just good at everything? I'm like, I don't know. They might be. Like, he's a legitimately, like, if I didn't know different, I would have thought that that's what he does. Like, he's a good singer.
yeah, Trav can sing. Has always been able to carry a tune. Obviously, pale to comparison to some of the other people singing that night, but he did okay. Um, I think the only thing, I think the Tuckers definitely have us beating beer pong. I know that. I don't know that I've ever met a better beer pong player than Ross Tucker. So uh, we can sing all right. Trav is very good. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Where does tell me about your parents. Like I mean, obviously I've been around your parents a bunch now, but I've never asked you. Like you guys are very gifted in a lot of different areas, athletically, personality, obviously the musical thing. I guess you play an instrument and
Mhm.
Travis can sing, you can sing as well. Like, is that your mom, dad? Like, give me the background.
I think a lot of the fact that we kind of do a little bit of everything actually stems from when we grew up in Cleveland. We grew up in a city called Cleveland Heights, very liberal artsy town. It's super interesting and it's diverse economically, it's diverse demographically. A lot of like former hippies have settled there. So but there's always been like a thriving music scene there. It's a very interesting town. And I think everybody in third grade, you're starting to record. Everybody in fourth grade, you're getting a musical instrument. When you're in middle school, you're either singing or you're doing music with an instrument. So it's very artsy. Um, it's athletically. There's a lot of kids that either go to private schools where they're very good. The public school has since we've left gotten pretty good at football. It was not when we were there, but it was very skilled. Has always been really good at basketball, in track and field. So, long story short, I really do think it's a wonderful area that you kind of get exposed to a lot of different things, whether it's the arts, athletics, academics. The AP program at the high school is fantastic. So we really love the area. We grew up in Cleveland. My parents, I mean, my dad was in and out of steel mills. I don't know that he ever played an instrument. Uh, Certainly tried playing football growing up. Never really amounted towards ACL senior year in high school. My mom is where we get all of our athletic side from. Yeah, she was a junior Olympian track hurdler, and my uncle played football at Purdue. He started out at Miami of Ohio. I think he got kicked out for punching a coach in the face, and then transferred. That's right. And he actually I think he was committed to Penn State before he tore his ACL his senior year in high school. And then my grandfather on their side also played football at OU. So
That's your mom's brother.
yeah,
That is so funny.
stuff is all from mom's side.
Yeah, dude, that is so funny you say that for two reasons. One is I don't even know if you know this. My dad's 5'9", like a buck 65. But my mom's 5'9", and my Uncle Mike played at Delaware, full ride, won a national championship. My grandpa was captain of Reading High in
Yeah.
1936. I saw one time where Brett Bielema, I think he was on with the Pardon My Take guys, and they said, when you meet a recruiter, you just like sizing up his dad. And Bielema said, actually, the best example of what the kid's going to be like is the mom's brother, which
Yeah.
like sounds like me, sounds like you. Like I think that might be a real thing.
No, I think it tracks, and I think it's most of the people that I've encountered that are highly athletic. I mean, listen, if you're an elite athlete, chances are both your dad and mom were athletic. But in general, it does feel like the mom decides a lot of the size, speed, and strength of an individual, at least more so than the dad. I would agree.
Oh, totally agree. The other thing that I think is fascinating about you guys, so I've seen the pictures of Travis playing ice hockey,
Yeah.
and then he ended up being a really good basketball player. He might be the only person I know that's like, usually once you go down the hockey route, like you're a hockey guy, and then maybe you stop playing hockey at some point. I can't think of many other guys that
Yeah.
were like hockey players and then switched over to hoops and became really good at it.
Well, he was always both. So he played both.
Oh, okay.
It was we played so many sports, and it's kind of crazy looking back that we were playing like two sports in the exact same season for most of our childhood. Like it was very rare we were doing one sport for one, you know, fall or winter or spring. We were almost always doing multiple of them. Like I in middle school, I wrestled and played hockey. In middle school, Trav was playing AAU and playing ice hockey. Now we never did the downside of doing it that way is we never really were with the premier teams in those sports, right? Like we never did junior hockey, right? We played for the community league team. Trav played AAU basketball. That was about as advanced as it got. But even like when we were playing baseball and lacrosse, we didn't do we never did like a baseball team that would go to like the World Series, little league baseball or something like that. It was always like a community or like a very low level travel league so that we could do as many sports as possible. So yeah, Trav was. I mean, Trav could have been a professional. I feel like in any of these sports. That's just the kind of athlete he was. He was always the best, especially once he hit his growth spurt and hit puberty. He was the best guy on the ice. They won a state championship in their community league division. Basketball, he got multiple offers to play collegiate basketball from MAC schools. Almost actually decommitted from Cincinnati when he found out that there was a chance Bob Huggins would have him on the West Virginia basketball team, but my dad wouldn't let him at the time because he didn't want it. He's like, you already committed, you already gave your word. We're not backing out on that, which is funny to see the way the landscape of college sports is now. Anyways, yeah, he was, even in golf, I feel like he's going to be like a plus handicap golf player. Like if you see him swing a club, it just makes sense. He's got that rhythm. He's got the tempo. It looks right. And that's kind of the kind of athlete he's been at everything his whole life.
That is wild. It's funny because you guys were like the original, like overscheduled kids, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Because like like when I grew up, it was like you played soccer, football in the fall, and
Yeah.
I played soccer for a while, then switched to football. Basketball, winter, you either played basketball or wrestled, and then spring, you played baseball, or I guess they had track or whatever as you got a little bit older.
Yep.
I feel like soccer was the first sport that like tried to then have spring soccer. It wasn't like that. That is really interesting that you were playing because now kids play two sports at the same time. There'll be club like my daughters will be like tennis and club volleyball or whatever. I didn't think that was much of a thing. Like you guys were like the OGs, and I'm sure you've talked about this before, but that probably has to have a lot of to do with your success playing that many different sports.
Oh, I agree 1,000. I think if you want to be the best overall athlete, play as many sports as possible. And I think that you pick up little things from each one. I remember I first started playing lacrosse, and lacrosse at the time, at least, I don't know if it's changed since then, but like you pretty much have like three dodges. They teach you a face dodge where you go across it. They teach you a roll dodge. They teach you a spin move. They're all kind of working off of these three basic deals. And I would kind of play lacrosse like I was a defensive lineman. Like I would do like a swim move over the guy. My coach would be like, "What are you doing? Like, why would you ever move the stick that way?" I don't know. I got past this. Like it worked, right? It's all about beating his hip line, and I got past it. And I think now I see every once in a while guys will grip out a little spin, a swim move in collegiate lacrosse. And friend's my best friend's dad, who coached the women's team, was always the one who was telling me not to do that. And he'll send me a text like, I see that dodge now all the time, and it drives me freaking crazy. So, but long story short, I think 100% multi-sport athletes when they're younger usually develop into the best overall athletes. Now, the problem with that is like if you want to go as like a hockey player, some of these highly skilled sports like a baseball, most of those guys that make it in those sports are playing that sport nonstop. Like they just the more they do it, the better you get. So it's kind of an odd thing of like, do you want to try and have the best baseball player in the world? Is that the goal? Or are you trying to just have a rounded individual who, is taking as much as they can from all these other sports, right? Everything teaches you a little bit something different. Wrestling, probably the most mentally tough sport you'll ever do in your life, right? Like to me, at least, the conditioning is the hardest. You don't have a size advantage. Like you're going to be roughly the same weight as the guy across from you. It's mano a mano. There's nobody else out there helping you. That is an intense sport to wrap your head around. I think there's a reason why most wrestlers are mentally tough individuals. And football, like nothing teaches you a team game to the degree that football does, in my opinion. Out of all the ones I've played, hockey, it's another toughness game, but it's speed. The game happens so fast. Like you can gain so much from playing every sport out there. So yeah, I don't know.
Speaking, I mean, we could talk about that for 45 minutes, like
Sure.
that whole thing. I mean, but speaking of wrestling, did you ever think you'd have a bodyguard?
Well, I forget what rapper it was, but you end up getting a bodyguard, not so much to protect you, but it's to protect you from doing something stupid. And I think that having a Dutch around diffuses a lot of situations sometimes, but from getting to a level that's, not good. And luckily, we really haven't had anything pop up. Like the vast majority of people are awesome, right? They're super nice. They're either fans of you or fans of the game or whatever event we're at. So I never thought I would, uh, but it's good to have a travel buddy. It's good to have a guy around that has some sense of continuity, especially when you're going between three and four things sometimes, and you're moving all over the place. You kind of have someone that is always kind of just there. And you guys are a team for sure.
No, I mean, I've been around you enough now. You definitely need one. Seriously, like just the people, you're so likable and approachable and everything. And honestly, like in the last couple of years, playing beer pong, there was a time where it would have been good if I had one. I'm not gonna get into that on the
Yeah,
show,
sure,
but
sure.
yeah, I mean, I think I can see the value of it for sure. Did you I really only hung out with you since you were at the end, like over the last 3 years.
Right, right.
What was the fame thing gradual, or was it just like was it gradual since the speech after the Super Bowl, or was it just like overnight when you were going to retire and Travis was dating Taylor and you were taking your shirt off and going to games? Like maybe it felt like both. I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely gradual, and then it just like was a very big flip, obviously, when Taylor and Travis started dating, and that led to a whole nother, demographic and fan base being interested in not just me, but our entire family, right? And I went from very much being dominated by, you know, large fat men coming up to me and shaking my hand and thanking me for being an Eagle to little girls. It was quite a shift of people that became fans. So, I was actually, even when I wasn't playing as well in 2016, before that, I felt like a lot of Philadelphians. Philadelphia's a great city to play offensive linemen. They really appreciate linemen, offense and defensive, like interior D tackles and interior linemen. Like people still bring up Hank Fraley, Honey Buns, right? Like how many people remember a guy that started? I don't even know how many. Like Hank started maybe 1-2 years here, and like people loved Hank. They loved John Runyon. They loved Trey Thomas. Jason Peters, Todd Harriman's. It's a great city to be a lineman in. So I had a really good fan base in Philadelphia even before that. The speech took it to another level. The podcast and going to the Super Bowl took it to another level. And then obviously when Taylor got on board, that's when it kind of shifted to like, oh, now we're in like a whole different like kind of category, right? Like
Yeah.
now there's people that pretty much dominate like they're music fans. Now all of a sudden they're coming into the football world or interested in the family because of that. So it's definitely been gradual, but at the same time, pretty intense the last 2 or 3 years.
You have been broadcasting the last couple years for ESPN. How do you liking it so far?
It's great. I think I always love. So I played with Barkley at the uh, American Century Championship out in
Yeah.
Tahoe last year.
Charles, not Saquon, Charles.
That's right. That's right. Sir Charles. And I just love every time I'm around Chuck because he just has a way of, there's no bullshit. He says it like it is. And he has a way of really reminding you things. And, I think for my first couple of years, I think I compared broadcasting so much to playing that it's like, it's an unfair comparison because I don't think anything really lives up to playing in the NFL, especially at the height and what we achieved as teams. Like it's nothing's really going to top that as far as a profession, in my opinion, or at least I don't know one yet. But that's over and that's done, right? And I think Tom made this comment to me shortly after retiring. Nothing's going to replace playing. And when you compare it to playing, yeah, I love playing more. But when you compare broadcasting to anything else I could be doing, like it's a pretty damn good job. I get to talk about the game. I get to travel. I get to be in the environments and the stadiums, especially on Monday night with the crowd there. It's awesome. And, I think it's a different lens to view the game from. I mean, when you're playing, you're only focused on your team and the team you're playing. And it's very easy. I mean, I would go entire months without really paying attention to what's happening in the AFC. And, now it's like, dude, you got to watch all the games. You got to watch it from a perspective of taking in the entire thing. So I've had a relationship with the NFL now being retired where I'm actually watching all of it and taking it all in, which has been a fun, different perspective to watch the game in. And, it's been different and awesome all at the same time.
I don't know how much of the stuff's like ESPN or how much of it's been for like social media, but like I see you doing like NASCAR stuff. I saw you
Yeah,
like I just see it on social media where like you were like a
I know.
goalie. I know you did something with I forget what it's called. Is it indoor golf? It's TL, what's it called? The
Yeah,
TGL. Yeah.
yeah.
So what's the logic in doing all those things? Because knowing you, like you just I think we're similar. Like it's awesome life experience. Like why not go check it out and see what it's like? Is that kind of the logic of you having your hands in all these different things?
So this year, the things I did with ESPN outside of that would be TGL and then the Masters, right? And like
Right,
TGL,
right,
I've been
right.
just picking that facility out for a long time. I've heard how incredible it is down there and wanted to see that, right? The Masters, yeah, of course I want to do the Masters. The number one place in the golf world to go down to, Augusta, Georgia. Like there's nothing I think that really tops that experience. And I had been as a spectator before. That was my first time to go and participate and see the par three. Um, I've always wanted to do NASCAR. So you basically I have a YouTube channel up where a lot of this stuff, bobsledding, NASCAR, we tried to dunk for the first time. You get to bring on, you get to document it. So you're making money on it. And then at the same time, you get to try and do something really cool that you've never had the opportunity to do. Especially while I played, I didn't have the opportunity to try these things. So now being retired, a little bit more time, you can go and try things that you have always been interested in trying or seeing or doing. So we have a we have the Monday night stuff and the ESPN stuff, then the YouTube stuff, which is kind of like really just an excuse to do bucket list items that you've always wanted to do. So yeah, it's been fun. We're definitely capitalizing on the uh, the ability to go and do random things. Maybe too much. We got to talk as a team, but it's been fun.
You got to check him out on social media. I'm sure a lot of you already do. Jason Kelce got the New Heights podcast. I promised him 20 minutes. We could talk for hours. Like I said, good friend of mine. Really enjoyed talking with him. And I just can't tell you guys how good of a person he is. I watch him every year at the end of one of his charity events, literally make sure every single person gets an autograph, gets a picture, while I'm dominating beer pong, by the way, down the hall. And he's meeting every person. A lot of people aren't as good of people as they seem on TV. Jason, you really are. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much.
Of course, Ross. I appreciate you having me. Can't wait to play some beer pong at some point. We got to get a game in just recreationally, not in the big swell of everybody being there.
Ultimately, Jason Kelce's candid conversation on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast provided fans with an intimate, grounded look inside one of the most talked about events in modern pop culture history. By balancing lighthearted humor with genuine brotherly pride, Jason offered a refreshing perspective on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's July 3rd, 2026 nuptials at New York City's Madison Square Garden. Beyond the grand setting and a star-studded guest list that included music royalty like Stevie Nicks, Paul McCartney and Tim McGraw, the discussion brought forward the personal, joyful moments that define the celebration. A surprise musical duet. One of the highlight revelations was Travis taking the microphone to sing alongside his new bride. While performing next to an icon like Taylor Swift would intimidate most, Jason admitted with a smile that Trav can sing and has always been able to carry a tune, even if his performance paled in comparison to the legendary artists sharing the stage that night. Roots in Cleveland Heights, Jason credited their childhood upbringing in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, for their comfort with music and the arts. Growing up in a school district where learning an instrument or participating in choir was standard helped give Travis the poise to surprise his wife and guests on their big day. Navigating a shifting fan base, the dialogue also touched on the broader life-altering cultural wave the entire Kelce family has experienced. With his trademark wit, Jason reflected on how his public interactions evolved almost overnight, shifting from burly football fans shaking his hand to young girls and families thrilled to catch a glimpse of the Kelce inner circle. Family at the center. Despite the monumental scale of an arena wedding, Jason emphasized that the event remained deeply personal. From his own young daughters serving as flower girls to heartfelt vows exchanged between the couple, the massive venue felt remarkably tight-knit. In closing, Jason's interview with Ross Tucker struck the ideal balance between sports camaraderie and pop culture fascination. It pulled back the curtain on a historic celebration without stripping away its magic, reassuring fans that beneath the flashing cameras and global headlines, Travis and Taylor's wedding was, at its core, a heartwarming, fun-filled union anchored by love, family, and a few good tunes.